also known as the Cowboy's Wife. I'm no expert on anything, and I don't claim to be, but I have been alive for 56 years, so I have some funny stories. Come saddle up with me and take a ride, and maybe I can make you laugh or smile or cry or give you something to just think about that day. Let's do this. Okay, hey, good morning, everyone. Trish Charleston here, the Cowboy's Wife, and I'm with my friend Jordan Jo Hollabaugh today, and I'm repping all of her stuff because
you're looking really fine in all your Cowgirl Armor.
I know the cowboy. I sent him a picture, and he's in New York this morning, and he sent me a picture. It was snowing, and he said something like, "This is my day," and I sent him this back, and I said, "This is my day," and he said, "Looks good." He said, "Looking good." And I said, "Demi Moore good?" And I did not, I did not get a response back. So he also didn't read it because the other night he told me that I looked better. She's 63.
She looks so good on Landman.
I hate her. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. I had to Google how old she was because I'm like, Kim's like, she's your age. I go, no, she's not. I said, she is substantially older. And it really makes me mad that she's hotter. Because
I thought, what's the Angela? I thought you were going to say you wanted to look like
no,
Angela.
I was nothing about Angela that I want to be. Well, I mean, I would like to look like Angela, but not act like Angela. Doesn't even act like Angela in real life. She's a great actress.
No, she is.
Really,
my favorite part about Angela is, and I feel like a lot of husbands resonate with this, is when
she calls.
and it's like the crazy picture and then the...
I told Kevin, I said, I want to do that on your phone. I think that would just be hilarious. Mine, the girls have changed it, and it says, "Your gorgeous wife" when I call in. And
that was
I know, and it's got like all these emojis, and so in his truck, if he's got customers in the car, it comes on and says "Your gorgeous wife," and then it also
the emoji names
and all the emojis, and then it has if I text him something, it reads it, and it'll say, "Trish, your gorgeous wife says blah 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 blah," and he's like, "Stop sending me stuff like that if I'm in the car." Well, I don't know if he's in the car. I have no idea. So it can get a little bit touchy, let's just say, to say the least. But yeah, if I could figure out how to change it to do that, and if I looked like her, that would be, a lot more impactful.
Well, I know. I told Raymond, I said, my caller ID better not look like that on your phone. Let me see it right now. I'm sure.
Oh, that's funny. He still has a picture of the kids, Quincy and Emma, when they were, young. Probably in high school. I don't even know that Emma was in high school, but when he first got phones, they stole his phone and took about 1 million selfies, like kids do when they're little. And he still has that as his screensaver. We have 3 grandchildren, and that is still his screensaver. And he said, "Don't you ever touch that. That is my favorite picture." And I just think that is so hilarious. It's sweet. So we digressed a little bit, but so what I want to talk about today is Cowgirl Armor. So many things, but this idea that you came up with, I feel like the worst friend because I didn't even know this was happening because I had, as you know, a lot of stuff.
Had a little bit going on. Not really much, but
a little bit going on for a while. I had to check out, take some time off, and while I was in
planning a small wedding.
Well, yeah, that I forgot about that. That was also, in the middle of all that, we had some family issues, just a lot of things happening in our lives. And so I'm just like, yeah, a podcast is not on my to-do list right now. I just gotta, shotgun wedding, not pregnant. Everybody thought, well, she's gotta be pregnant. No, she was the rodeo. So, it was the only time everybody could be there. And some of the guys were in the NFR, so they had to, get in, get out, get back to business. And it was so precious of all of them to come, and we just had a blast, and we missed you because you would have had a blast. It was so fun. But, gosh, they were all just, it was a lot of people in a very short amount of time, but it worked out great. And that was another thing, that whole process was so different than the first one that I had. Well, the first two, just because I'm in a different place in my head, in my heart, all the things. And it's so, life's just different when you've got, Jesus in your heart. It's just different. But anyway, so I get online, and I'm also a terrible Facebook friend because I don't read anybody's stuff. I mean, I will occasionally, if it comes up on my feed, I will like it. If I'm riding in the car or traveling, and I'm bored, then I scroll. Other than that, I read, because I just feel like at 57, I only have so much time left on this earth. And so I want to fill my mind with good things. And so I won't even hardly read. I won't read very, very little fiction. I mean, if it's not a Christian author, I won't even hardly read it unless it has to do with horses or cattle or insurance. Those are things I have to know about sometimes. And I know very little about insurance, so don't ask me about that. I just know that that's where my husband goes every day. So, but anyway, I open this up and I'm like, what is she doing? And so I looked it all up, and I texted you, and you sent me the link, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So it all comes from Ephesians 6, the verses behind it. So explain how you got the idea, because this is just cool.
So it's actually, I had a dream, and this has been probably like 5 or 6 years ago, like an actual dream. And you know that rodeo and all the things that come with it, and I was breakaway roping and had become a professional breakaway roper. They had put it in to the PRCA. And so we were pro rodeoing, and I think this was the first. So I made the first year they had the finals. I made it in 2020. And then the next year I missed it by $1,500.
Oh.
And so then it kind of became this spiral for me, like in the mental part of it, where it's like, am I good enough? Why didn't I make it? Like, could I have done this better? So it's like it was striving. I was striving to be better, striving to get back there, whatever. Well, second year goes by, I didn't get back again. And so it really was a hard place for me, which now I look back and I'm like, there's so many blessings that came from it. But at the time, it was just like my world was destroyed, because that's what I lived for, and that's what I found my self-worth in, and that's what I found my identity in. And so I was like in a really hard place mentally, doing all the things, and thank God I had Jesus through all of this stuff, because if not, I really don't know where I would have been or where I would have turned. But as I was going through some of this stuff, it was just like I was embarrassed to talk about it, even with my friends, or talk through it, because it was like, from the outside in, you didn't feel like any of them ever encountered fear or insecurity or, your identity or jealousy or comparison, or, the list is long and distinguished. So anyway, I was struggling with that and kind of really pressing in and praying to God about, like, do I continue to break my rope? Do I not? Like, where do I go with my life? And, man, it was such a cool season. And just, we get home from September. So like October through December, I think, is like one of my favorite times of the year, because it's like, we're home, like you get to decompress and process all the things. So anyway, I have a dream one day, and I wake up with this words, Cowgirl Armor, on my mind. And I'm like, that would be so cool. And it was a dream more of like starting a community of women that are elite women in whatever facet that we do, whether, my field's rodeo, but I have so many friends that rodeo has opened doors to me that don't rodeo, right? So just elite women that want to, whether they're moms or whatever they may be. But anyway, elite women sharing stories and coming together and creating this community of like trials and triumphs and being real about the struggles. And so I was like, man, that'd be really cool. Then I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Like, I will be judged and criticized and all the things. And so I just like, this was probably 3 years ago, and I put it, under the rug, swept it under the rug, and God, he's pretty bossy. And so it came up a lot. And so about a year later goes by, and I have a logo designed, because I knew it was the shield of faith. Like at that time, when I was talking about my mental battles, every day I was in Ephesians. Like, I'm putting on the helmet of salvation. I'm putting on the belt of truth. I'm wearing the breastplate of righteousness. I've got the sword of the Spirit. My feet are shod with the gospel of peace. You know, just every day I was putting on the armor, putting on the armor, putting on the armor, good, bad, or indifferent. And so I had a logo made, and I had a young lady that was going to kind of go beside me in this business and help me. And as we started kind of mapping it out and stuff, again, I got scared, and just the enemy floods in and is like, if you do this, your peers are going to think you're weak and you can't win. And you're just a little, you know, you have cats and knit sweaters and, you know, just, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like in our industry, and I don't know if this is in any other industry, but like in our industry, it's like, I feel like there's this unspoken, unbeknownst thing of like, if you have any kind of compassion or you're vulnerable, or you talk about your real struggles, it's like you're weak and you can't win. And so I was scared about that. I'm like, if I do this, does that mean I'm never going to win again? Like, does that mean I'm over, like competition is over for me? It was just such a big lie and device of the enemy. So anyway, as we start getting into this thing, I'm like, our partnership kind of fell through because I didn't have enough time to commit to it. And so she helped me design. Her name is Bridget Yates. She's an amazing young lady, total woman of God. She helped me design the logo, and she's like the artsy person, right? So she helped me kind of put these pieces together. And then we parted ways because it wasn't something at the time that was feasible. So,
But I mean, like,
on.
but in the midst of that, you started a podcast. You started, I mean, how long is that's only been within.
Yeah. So the podcast has been going on for 5 years. So
that's when 5 years, not to mention, oh my gosh, you're doing all this announcing, you're doing all these, there's some stuff. So it's not like this was your only undertaking. You'd already committed to all these other things. And so that's when it starts getting pretty overwhelming.
Right.
But
And
that's
so
the funny thing though, really fast, when you start something, like you said, that's my favorite phrase is he is so bossy, because he's
so bossy.
Once you start, he's going to give you so much more to do. But anyway, so go ahead.
So yeah, so at the time I was roping professionally. So every day, you know, I've from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I was in the arena practicing whatever it took down there, right? So I have I get up at 5 every morning till about 12 o'clock, and that's where I have time to have. I have a marketing company, Fabrizio Marketing. I have a podcast. I also help other people podcast. And then on top of that, you know, was trying to kind of feasible of this idea. So fast forward, I felt on like this Cowgirl Armor thing kept coming up. So I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to start a Bible study group with some close people that I know, that I trust, that I'm just going to give this a whirl and kind of see. And so it was so funny how that came to be, because there were some of the best ropers in the world in this group. There was 7 of us. And I got in there, and again, the emotions come back. I'm like intimidated, insecure, don't feel like I measure up. Like, these people are my friends, and I'm having these thoughts and feelings. And so one day we kind of get into it, and everybody was kind of closed off at first, just like we all are. You know, they're like, we're trying to feel it out. Can we be vulnerable? Can we not?
Well, it's scary because
it's very
and
scary.
That's the devil too. So
yeah. Oh yeah. And so, like, I think it's the 3rd or 4th week that we're in this Bible study, and one of the ropers started out and said, "Man, I've, you know, my biggest thing is I'm scared of everything." And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm looking in the computer, you know, as we're having our virtual Bible study. I'm like, wait, what? you have fear? And so she goes on and talks about it. And then the next one comes up, and she's like, I don't think I'm good enough. I mean, I will not name any names, but like, if they could win it, it's been one.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like they were good enough. And I'm sitting here thinking, holy cow, wait, you guys, you feel the same thing too? And then there was the next one. It's like, I compare myself with people all the time. And I'm like, you? What? We're all trying to be like you, you know? And so it was just such a relief flooded over me to know I wasn't the only one. And so then it got worse, because now I'm like, I know I've got to do this now. And I'm like kicking, screaming, putting my feet forward. Like, I don't want to do this. Right. And I don't, you know, I know. And so I'm like, okay, then I knew like 200%. I'm like, I got to do this. So it's just kind of been a process. So to get started, my husband he had 2 ankle replacements this past year on top of everything else that we're doing. And so I'm sitting in the hospital and he just came back, successful surgery. And I just like, I had from 6 that morning, because that's when he went back to have surgery, till like 4 or 5 that afternoon by myself and God. And so it was just like a flood of all 4 seasons of emotions, right? It was just praying. Then I got down and the Holy Spirit came over me, and I'm just like, God's wrestling with me and all these things. And I'm like, I'm doing it. I am coming out and I'm doing it. And so I'm like, I will make a post today, God. And if anybody responds, we'll see. We will see. And I made this little post on Facebook, and I put, I think, like 20 caps out there, because I wear caps all the time because I'm a breakaway roper. I'll never fix my hair, right? So I'm like, caps are my go-to. So I'm like, I'm going to do a cap, and I'm putting it out there. So I call my cap girl and like, I need to order 20 caps. I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to sell these caps. Nobody's going to buy a cap. Nobody's going to, like, all these things, right? So anyway, put the post out there, and we sold all the caps in the first day. And I had like over 200 comments. And I'm like, dang you, God, I don't want to do this, So I'm like, all right, well, I'm doing it. And so I guess kind of like short story of all that is I want to bring conversations to the table that are real about not just the struggles. It's not just about the struggles. I don't think we celebrate victories enough either, but I want to have real conversations, and I want to talk about the hardships. And I think people idolize people that are successful, and they're like, well, they don't ever go through this, or, they don't ever feel this way, or I can't identify with that person. Well, that's not true. We all do. And so I just want to debunk that myth, because I think that if I would have had somebody I felt comfortable talking to or connecting with at the time when I was going through some of these tough battles, it would have made a difference faster. And so that's my goal in all this. Is it's so competitive, it's so tough, but at the same time, we all go through the same things at some point in our life. So the bulk of it right now, and I feel like, and you even said this, and I was like, oh gosh, and it's just been like doors have opened, and I don't know where it's going to go. And like you said, you think it's bigger than what it is, but right now what we're doing is we're selling merchandise. I'm going to have 10% of all the proceeds are going to go back to women's only organizations, non-for-profits, or helping kids or helping women, something of that sort.
I have an idea about that. So
my first month, this was so our first month we made like profit. We made like $350 profit. And so I felt so stupid writing a $35 check
but
to
you
the Golden Circle of Champions.
That's incredible.
We're doing this, right? And we're starting, like, this is God. Here's my offering. Here's my small pennies I got in my jar, and here we go. And so it's going to be all the proceeds we make from merchandise are going to go back to organizations to help women and or children. And then we're going to start, I'm going to start sharing stories myself, but I have a bunch of friends that have committed, you being one of them, to sharing stories that we're going to post every week about where they went through these battles or victories.
So
too.
Is that only on email, or are you going to post them on Facebook too? Because I am the worst email, as you know. I do not.
I know. So we're going to post them on all platforms. So on social media, there's going to be a small snippet. So like this last one we did was believing in yourself.
Yes.
And so it started out with the believing in yourself, and then it gave some details. But then if you want to read the whole blog, you can go to our website, cowgirlarmor.com, and read that whole story of that cowgirl.
So when you go to the website, does it create money or not?
No. So when you go to the website and you read stories, you're just reading the stories. Any kind of money generated is just off of any kind of merchandise right now.
So, and it's super cute, which I've already made my suggestion about it, because I want you to make one that actually says, the rope is the sword of the spirit, the hat is the helmet of salvation. I think you should actually write those on there. I mean, this is super cute, and I think people who are not as bold in their faith would be more apt to wear something like this one, but you're making a bold statement. And it's not, and the thing is, the thing that I loved the most about it, that so far, there's so many things I loved about it, but the fact that the writing is anonymous. One of the things that I do, I speak sometimes. I hate it because I'm not a great speaker. I'm a much better writer than I am a speaker, because I can retract my words. I can, well, not retract. You can't retract anything you said, but I mean, you can, but it's already been heard. You can't unhear it, but I can proofread my stuff. I'm not great at that either, but I can change it, and write it better. I don't charge people when I go speak. I don't get paid. It's not necessarily that I don't need the money, because it's not about that, because it's about, I'm always going to talk about Jesus. And the other thing, I spoke recently at an FFA conference for women, or Women in Ag conference for young girls. And one of the things, it was empowering young women. And I said, I'm all about empowering young women. I said, but I am always going to be a stand by your man gal. If you're not, if you're not going to talk about the husband being the head of the household, then I'm out, because it's him first. And then, I will do, now he will say that I don't do what he says, but that's not true.
Well, sometimes he's bossy too.
He's so bossy, but no, he's also a little terrifying. We were at a wedding this weekend, and it was funny because in my books I've written about him. He's changed so much, but I find it funny how other people have seen how he's changed, which I didn't realize. And one of our really good friends, who I consider to be a very strong, tough kind of guy, he said he was the meanest SOB that I have ever met in my life. And I'm like, what? And he goes, I saw him whip Emma with a rope one day, and it was awful, and I was there, and I really wanted to call the Division of Family Services. I'm not going to lie, but, and it was all because she lied to him. And here's the really sucky part, is she went to church instead of feeding her horses. But before we left town, he made her promise he would tell she would tell the family she was staying with, which they totally would have, to bring her home first to feed the horses and then go to church. Well, she didn't want to bother him. And oh my, let's just say she never forgot to feed her horses again, or purposely didn't feed her. It was horrible. But now he has grandchildren, and, he's just a big old wuss, because he just, anything they, but my point to that is, people change. We all change. We all get softer. The more the closer we come to God, not softer, stronger, mentally stronger. And all the things you talk about are all of the things I've written in my newest book, with the struggles and everything, but finding the peace in it all. But what women don't understand, which I find hilarious, is we are all the same. I mean, we all have the same struggles. It doesn't matter what we're doing in life. And that's what I try to explain to these girls. It's like, there's nothing that you're going to do that we haven't already done. So,
100%.
I mean, nothing. And I mean, Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, states there is nothing new under the sun. Nothing. So why wouldn't you use this opportunity to learn from peers that have gone ahead of you, to not make the same mistakes that they made? And I love that the idea of the anonymous part, because nobody's getting credit for it. It's not about you. It's about him and what he did for you, and how he got you through it, and how he equips us every single day of our lives with these things. And obviously we know it's not what we're talking. The Bible is, all of these things. This is the word is our shield. But the fact that you have made it relevant to our heritage. It's just cool. I mean, it's super cool. And I think it makes God really happy. I mean, I think he's like, there you go. And then, so do you know Ephesians? Do you know it from your heart? Can you recite it, or do you want me to read it?
So you can read it, but
Well-
I just shortened it. I'm like, okay, God, every morning putting on the belt of truth, breastplate of righteousness. I've got the shield of faith, sword of spirit, helmet of salvation, and my feet are shod with the gospel of peace. And I go forward and pray boldly. I've just condensed it.
Yep.
Read
It's
it.
really, really good. So, the armor of God. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything to stand, stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this, keep in mind being alert and always keep on praying for all the saints. The thing that freaks me out about, and that I can fully freak the cowboy out when I get to talking about stuff like this, but that evil spirit stuff and all that, it's real, and if we could see what is really going around us every day, we would never leave our house. I mean, I don't think you'd ever even get out of bed. I mean, I've got a sign right behind me that says, if God showed us the whole journey, we'd never take the first step, because it's not easy. I mean, nothing we are going to do is easy. And that's what he also tells us, is that that's how you get tough. I mean, that builds perseverance. All these struggles that we go through build perseverance. But, oh gosh, this is so good, Jordan. I just think it's so much bigger. Like I said, when I texted you the other day, I just think this is so much bigger than you realize that it is. I've been doing this Bible study called Forgiving What You Can't Forget, and a little bit about the mess that we've been going through, and it has to deal with drug addiction. It's not anybody in my immediate family, but it's pretty close to home, and it's just been a real if you have ever dealt with any kind of, and everybody deals with it in their family, everybody's got somebody has an addiction problem, and it's a real problem, and it is the devil. I mean, I'm just convinced it's the devil. But we're talking about forgiving. Anyway, Lisa Turkhurst wrote this incredible Bible study, and I've been leading it with a cool group of women that I love. We call ourselves the Bible Babes, and they are fantastic. Just like the group you were talking about, these women, we bare our hearts and souls to each other, and it's a wide variety of ages, which I love. If you ever get the opportunity to have young and old in the room, the wisdom of the older women is invaluable. And I am so just baffled by the young people's knowledge these days. I mean, they really have a lot to bring to the table too, and we don't give them enough credit, I don't think. Sometimes women we don't give each other enough credit. But this starts breaking things down. Like, they're digging. Like, when I started this study, I'm like, I'm good. I don't have anybody. I'm good. I've forgiven all the people. I mean, this particular person I was talking about, I struggle, just because they struggle, and I don't get it, unless you've ever been there, you don't get it,
No.
and so it's hard to have compassion for people when you've never walked in their shoes. If you've never experienced cancer, you're not as sympathetic as somebody who has, or empathetic, either one. If you've never experienced an addiction, I have an addiction to shopping. I admit it. I do. I am a shopaholic. Luckily, it hasn't put us in the poorhouse, you know, so I get by. But it has, I mean, I've been in debt up to my eyeballs, and it could have really damaged our family. My husband just chose to work harder. He's like, that gal has got a problem. I'm going to have to work harder. So lucky me, I married well, but but it had you digging up this old, like, stuff from high school. High school can wreck people. And I never realized that I harbored some things from high school. And here's another thing that I think the enemy likes to really play tricks with us on is I'm starting to wonder if I remember things correctly.
Or if they've been curated by the feelings that you felt and the emotions, and then it's like, is that really?
So,
yeah. Well, and like you're talking, like, okay, so a couple things. One, on like, okay, women that are older than us, just like you've been amazing for me. You've poured into
Thank
me.
you.
You've helped me when I was scared to even ask for it. You're like, hey, we're doing this, you've been amazing. But there is to me, there's this invisible line sometimes of like, I can't ask her for help. Like, she's going to judge me, or she's going to criticize me, or and it's lies and fallacies, but that's the interpretation that we have. So we don't talk about it. We don't ask. We don't say, like, because I'm like, okay, well, Trish could have never went through some of the stuff I'm going through. You've probably been through all of it.
I've been through,
but we don't talk about it.
No, and it's fear, but it's also you're embarrassed and you're afraid people are going to judge you. I had the strangest conversation. You literally just said this about you were afraid that these women were going to think less of you, and like loving God in some way makes you weak or something. And this guy who is just he was raised Wiccan, which is terrifying. So he's raised by a witch, basically. But he was in the army. He was a guerrilla. He was a army sniper. He was in the jungle and I think he went to Iraq. I don't even know how many times, but he was in this jungle, which I don't even know they had jungles in Iraq. I don't think maybe that's not the right word. But anyway, he was somewhere by himself, and there were like 8 guerrilla soldiers, enemy soldiers, looking for him, and he's the only one that came out. This is the kind of guy that he is. But he said, he called me the other day, and this is so weird because he's nuts. I mean, I love the guy, but he's nuts. But he said, do you think, he goes, Trish, I believe in Jesus. And I was just blown away because he goes, but do you think that I could lead men if they, in a situation like that, if they think that I'm that weak? And I thought, that is the saddest statement I have ever heard, because there are no atheists in foxholes. They all are praying to God. And right. So it's like, what his mentality of that, thinking that it made him weak, was terrifying for me, because I feel like it's just the opposite. I think it's so much stronger. I don't know. But I just wanted to, so I have to share this really weird story. You think about things in high school, but what goes around comes around. It really, really does. And I know we're running out of time. We've been doing this for a long time, but so I was in junior high and we were at cheerleading camp. A couple of cheerleading things here. So I had just taken a shower, gone into my room, and my roommate was in there. She was a dear friend of mine, has been a friend of mine for years. And this other older upperclassman comes in, and I don't remember if I didn't cheer in high school, so I know this had to be in junior high, because I'll tell you the high school story in a minute. But she comes in and has pizza in her hand, and she says, Mr. Pizza's here to see you, something like Mr. Pizza. And she proceeds to rub this pizza all over my face, in my hair, all over my body. Oh yeah. And I just sat there. The person I am today, I'd have drop kicked that lady. I mean, I've never been in a fight in my life, but I'm pretty sure that would have been ensued.
It would have been.
It would have been, we'd have gone. And my friends sat there and just watched it happen. And I don't, for the life of me, I mean, we were sneaking out of a house one night, and her boyfriend saw us this going down. We were climbing off this roof in the rain because I'd had a party at my house, and we had to sneak back to my house to clean up the party. And so he gave us a ride. But that is the only thing that I can think of that I have ever would have done to this person. I just sat in the car, and got a ride. We didn't make out, it wasn't that fun, So I don't know. And I think now, looking back, now that I'm breaking all this down, that was even before that happened. That this person just rubbed pizza all over my face. So come fast forward, I was probably 15 at the time. So here I am now, 57. So it's been a hot minute ago. This same person moved back to town. And in fact, she's even done a podcast with me. She is a recovering alcoholic. She had a horrible, horrible addiction with alcohol. She kept asking. I reached out to her. I'm not going to give you all the details of how that transpired, but I reached out to her and we became friends. In the process, she kept asking this other friend, she'd say, I feel like there's something that I need to ask her for forgiveness for. And my other friend's like, no, I don't think so. I think you're good. But I'm like, the heck yeah, we are. And she does need to.
You're not good. We're not good. You're not okay.
But I mean, it's like, it's like, hello, you were there. And they were like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. But it kept being on her heart. She even asked me, she's like, I just feel like there's something that I need to ask. And I fully intended to bring it up. Like, I was like, at some point, this is going to.
You're like, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'm doing it. And she's going to say she's sorry. And it was so funny because through the whole thing, and at one point I was even praying, I thought, forgiveness is more about you releasing it. And I thought, maybe this is something she needs to do. Maybe I'm robbing her of this, because when you've done something to someone, you need to ask for forgiveness because it's your heart.
You're letting it go.
You're letting it go. You're giving it to God. But here's the coolest thing is that, like, I am over it. And it didn't matter to me anymore that she doesn't owe me an apology now, and I love her. And it was so weird. And it was so funny because when I tell people that story, there's so much more to it. So it doesn't make so much sense, but without just knowing all the things that transpired. But it was like Emma and Jackson went over there and packed her car and helped her get loaded to move. And Emma vacuumed her house. They didn't know her from Adam. And they were just over there working like little dogs because I was out of town, and they went and did it for me. And we are friends. Like, she is the most precious thing. And it was just weird. So, I mean, I think sometimes, I don't know if digging all that crap up is always the best. Then I was also thinking about we had this big party in high school. And so when it came time to try out for cheerleading, the teachers had already decided the girls that were at this party aren't going to be cheerleaders. Well, what a disservice that was for us, because instead of giving us a place to go and behave, they just gave us more
Penalized you
party
for it.
time. You know, I mean, it was so silly. And so then the next year, my friends, and these are my high school friends that I still adore to this day. But now I'm questioning some things. You know, it's like, they all went out. I had a job. I was working for my dad, cleaning the offices after work. After the office closed, I'd go over there and clean offices. Not well, but he did give me this chance. And they went and tried out for cheerleading and didn't tell me that they were going to try out the next year. So I had been working. And so when I found out, I'm like, well, you guys didn't tell me we're trying out. And so I go, and the teachers wouldn't let me do it because I'd missed a day.
Mm-hmm.
And girls can be kind of mean, you know, girls
Can be very mean.
are really kind of mean, you know, and I'm looking back and I'm thinking, man, that's really crappy. You know, why did I stay friends with these people? But I love them. I love all of them. And I mean, it was, and maybe they didn't do it intentionally. Maybe they did, you know, whatever. But I just think that there is a lot of crap that we have to dig up and let go. And I think talking to other women and bringing those things out in therapy, you know, I used to think is just, you know, Kevin was terrible about it. He's like, that's for weak people, blah, blah, blah. It is not. You know, it is imperative to be able to talk this out and get it out and then break it down, you know, because when you unpack all this stuff, well, just like the stupid pizza story. I mean, after unpacking it, it's like that, who cares? You know, I mean,
Right.
how does that affect my day? So I want to fast forward for a minute and talk about this awful horse thing. And so I wrote about this last week. And why in Revelations 12, 10 through 11, I'm going to read that really fast just because I want to tie this in.
Give us some context.
Huh?
Yeah, give us some context on
Revelation. I gotta read this. And you know, the book of Revelations says if you read it, you'll be blessed. It's very confusing and kind of terrifying, but this I just learned this week in my Bible study. So Revelations 12, 10 and 11. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power of and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers who accuses them before our God day and night has been hurled down. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. The word of their testimony. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And I wrote a little thing about you this past week because this literally says this is how we overcome Satan. And so what we share with other people is how we overcome Satan. So we were talking about this horrible horse disease that's going on. And I feel like this is singling out women. I mean, it's, oh my gosh, it's not just women, but so far it is just women's horses that are sick. And that is, but I'm telling you, these women have been on fire for Jesus. Guys, too. I was a little disappointed to learn that Jelly Roll's podcast is nothing but dirty talk. I was like, he gave his testimony about God, and now he's I guess he does these nasty TikToks. I don't know that that's true, but I don't listen to any of that stuff. But I guess he's got some really vulgar language. So I'm going to have to research that more. But Jelly Roll went down on my list. I was real tickled about Jelly Roll, but I'm really not now. So I'm like, do better, you know? And that's another thing. I mean, if we're going to wear a hat with God's word written on the side, you need to act like it. You know, if you're going to wear a cross around your neck, you need to be a representative of of Jesus. But so Emma said, she texts me and she said, Jordan's horse is sick. And I go, Jordan who? And she goes, Jordan Jo. And I'm like, what? And so I go, of course she is, because Jordan has been professing her faith openly on all forms of social media, and the devil is angry. And I said, of course she is. And so I sadly was not surprised at all, because he will attack those that are attacking him the most. If you're not a threat to him, he's not going to bother you. I mean, he doesn't care. If you're already on the team, he doesn't need to recruit you, I mean,
Right.
so I'm just so proud of you and all of the things that you're doing, because when you share the word, we're defeating him. And all of these women that are coming on here, and men too. I mean, it's not just Cowgirl Armor, it's Cowboy Armor too. I mean,
Yeah.
and they probably don't want to wear these cute shirts, but they might.
They might. I've had some guys ask me,
I
hey,
bet some
where's
guys
the Cowboy Armor caps? And we're going to be coming up with those in January. So letting the cat out of the bag there. But just a couple things. Like, I
good,
remember
because it's everybody. It's everybody's
it
art.
is everybody.
Yeah.
I remember one time my husband, when I first got saved in 2020 or 2015, at September 7th, 2015, I got baptized. Coolest day ever. I've got the video, which I'm a little chunky in the video, but I'm gonna have to post it again. And I got dunked in this horse tank. It was just like Demi Moore coming out of the water, but not really. So, but it is cool. I am gonna post it. So anyway, he asked me, he's like, and I mean, I came under, like, I was a total advocate for the enemy before. I mean, I was into everything bad you could get into. And then I like severely got attacked in every area of my life, from my family to my everything, my career, my school, like
We've
all
talked
of it.
about that
And
before, just even your marriage, just all the,
oh,
yeah.
100%. 100%. And he asked me, and this has been a long time ago, but he asked me, like, I don't understand, because it's funny how this is a different podcast for a different story, and I'd love to have this podcast with you too, but like, our husbands are totally through our actions, right? They don't care what we say. If we can live it and profess it in our actions, then they're like, oh wait, she's doing something different. But he asked me, he's like, I don't understand why you keep doing this when there's so much heartache and hard that comes with it. Like, why does God allow that to happen? And I just immediately remember saying, like, he's working all things for good for me, and he's growing me in some area, and what's the devil trying to keep me from? And but it is, and I think that's a great reminder too, of just like, yeah, my horse did get sick again this year. Last year, when I started this idea, and kind of, she got really sick. Like, and I'm not saying it's just targeted, but we're going to get attacked. And then it's, for me now, it's almost like a great reminder of, like, okay, this sucks. I'm getting stronger. Like, I'm going to get stronger through this. And thank you, God, for how you're working this to my good, even though this hurts like really, really bad. Thank you for working. Thank you for being here with me. He never leaves us through that, right? And just all those things. But one other thing I want to touch on that you said earlier is, I've been through a lot of things that I can share with people that might make an impact.
Yeah.
But I haven't been through all the things you've been through,
Right.
or my friends have been
Right.
through. And so that's why, for me, Cowgirl Armor is full circle in the fact, and like you said, we're keeping it anonymous, because I do want God to get the glory. But I don't want anybody to ever feel scared
To
to
tell their
share
story. Yeah.
and to talk about it. Because just like us talking about it, you're saying things, I'm like, oh, me too, me too. But had we not had that confidence and the courage as friends to talk about it, we wouldn't. So it's a very scary, very, very scary place for me, because I know that I'm going to get criticized and judged by people that, whatever. But at the same time, I keep on saying, and I keep on hearing, like, at the end of my life, when I'm gone, like, have I made a difference? And so for me, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference to people. I want to know, when people think of me, I want them to think like, she saw me for who I was, or she was nice to me, or, whatever it may be. I just want to impact people individually.
Yeah,
I
your
want to,
legacy. I mean, this is what you want your
and
legacy to be.
that's not easy. And that's something I'm like, well, I can't hide at my house in Springtown and play with all my horses and not ever do anything and actually do that. Right. Like that's Timber Allen Brand. Which you love her too. And she's one of my great friends, but like, she told me like, this is your safe place. And it is. Home is my safe place, but I've also got to build up and equip so I can go out and then, do what I'm called to do. So that's for me, Cowgirl Armor full circle, is that there are going to be so many cowgirls there. I may not be able to help you or share a story that relates with you, but there is going to be somebody that can and will. And that's my goal in this, is to be, you're not alone. You're not unseen. Let's start these conversations. Let's talk about it and let's get through it together. That's my goal in all of this. I don't really know where it's going to go or where it'll take us or what it looks like. But I'm just going to let God lead the way and see where it goes.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I think it's an incredible legacy. We just did a episode on RFD TV, and they asked the question to Kevin, what do you want your legacy to be? And we didn't know this question was going to be asked. And Quincy was on the stage with him at that time. And he says, I want this to go on without me. And he said something like, I was never here. And wow, you can't say that with your daughter sitting there on live television, and she just ugly cried. I mean, it was horrible. And it was like, what did he just say? But that's the thing. And that's why I write, because those are my love letters to my kids, to my husband, and to God, and so that's this, and those things never go away. Those that's going to be on the internet forever. And so this will be on the internet forever. And so our stories matter because it is how we win souls for Christ. And I'm not trying to be condescending, but I'm so proud of you. I mean, it's,
and thank you for pouring into me. Like, just,
oh yeah,
it's we all need everybody,
oh
right?
yeah,
Because you think that maybe I'm not doing the right thing, or maybe, like there's doubt, right? And one of the coolest things I heard on a podcast, I thought it was really neat. It was like, faith and fear are both a choice. Both are unseen, different results, right? So if you choose fear, you still don't know what's out there. You still don't know that fear, but you've chosen that. Whereas faith, you still don't know what's out there, but you've chosen that. And I'm like, how cool, just to like, because you'd think fear is like a certain thing, but it's not.
right.
Right. And faith is not, it's what we can't see. Right. And so it's like, I'm going to intentionally choose faith, but also know that, like, you've done this for me, and I know for several other people, and I challenge anybody out there today, like, if God puts it on your heart to text somebody or to reach out to them, do it. Just do it. It doesn't have to be like this long sermon. It just has to be like, hey, I'm thinking of you. Love you. Have a good day. Like, my friends will laugh. I've been trying to do that more, of like, whether I'm good, bad, or indifferent, working out, nasty, sweaty, I'm like, hey, I love you and I hope you have a great day. Like, one of my friends said, I'm never going to do that for you because I don't look good at that time in the morning. And I was like, you chicken. And I'll be dang, this morning I got one. She's like, I look terrible and I'm telling you I love you and I hope you have a good day. And I was like, yeah.
Well,
A
I mean,
screenshot.
like, I was just blown away on Thanksgiving by so many people, and you were one of the first ones I got that said, I am thankful for you. And it's like, ooh, I mean, women need to build each other up instead of tearing each other down. Listened to this, or read this Bible study last week, and he was talking about the word gossip, because this is what happens in our circles. Instead of building each other up, we gossip. And the word gossip even has the sound of the serpent.
Ugh.
Yeah, think about that the next time you're talking about somebody. In a bad way. I'm like, oh,
You know what I like to do to serpents? I take the shovel to them. So then I imagine me taking the shovel to my
yeah,
mouth. It's like, oh
well,
God,
that
okay, no.
yeah,
Can't do
and
that.
it's hard because you get sucked in so fast. But
Yeah.
instead of tearing people down, and the other thing about this is, we all have this we're all in competition. We think we're in competition, even when you're talking about Jesus. When all of a sudden you see somebody write a podcast or do a podcast about God or do a Bible verse about God, oh my gosh, that's the devil that says, "Oh, look who's talking about God today." And it's like, even Paul says it doesn't matter who's doing it, even if they aren't believers. If they are able to lead someone to Christ, then it's a good thing. I think that was Paul. It might be Jude. I don't know. I'm getting my dudes mixed up. But it's
Doesn't matter.
it's in the Bible, but I can't tell you where. But seriously, though, I mean, it's so important that everyone, and then the nation is on fire for Jesus right now. I mean, he is moving in such a cool way, and that everybody is feeling it, and it's a powerful, incredible place to be. I hope he's come. Come, Lord, come. I mean, I am ready. I mean, please come.
Me and you both. And I think too, like, and you did a really good job of this, and it's, just inspiring me too. And I've written it down, be more intentional, but being intentional about what, garbage in, garbage out. Right? If we're doom scrolling, and what does that lead to? Like, does it lead to good? Does it lead to, for me, it leads to comparison and judgment and doubt. And, well, I'm not good enough. I don't even know why I try it. Right? Whereas you're like, I'm being very intentional about what I'm listening to, what I'm reading, what I'm putting in my mind. Like, for me, it's being, winning the morning. Like, what are you going to do this morning? Being clear, being intentional. And it's amazing. Like, if you do a couple little things each and every morning, like, for me, it's like I get up, I do a meditation to kind of get my mind right, do some breathing, and then I'm like, okay, God, it never fails. The coolest mornings for me, which I've had a bunch of them, but like, I'll have my eyes shut, I'll be doing my breathing, and God, literally the sun will meet my face. And it's just like, good morning, Father.
This
And
morning,
just starting your day with him. It just,
when I got up this morning, my hallway is very long, and my desk is in the living room at the end of this very long hallway, and the sun was shining on my Bible. And I took a picture of it. I'll show it to you. It was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. And I spend every morning in the Word, but I read yesterday in my Advent Bible study that which I wrote about. It said something like, it's not going to impress God that you did your Bible study today, or you forgot. It's not going to insult him if you forget it, and it's like, oh, whoa. I don't know if I love that. I'm not trying to impress him, but I think we all do give ourselves attaboy, you did. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, he's already done the work, you're already saved, go lay it at the foot of that cross, and go do something for someone else, do better.
Yeah.
Well, yay, I'm so excited to see where this goes.
For having us on here to talk about all things Cowgirl
Yeah,
Armor.
and tell everyone where the website is. How do you get there?
Yeah, go to cowgirlarmor.com. We'll have all of our cowgirl stories on there, and those are the blogs that we're talking about of different cowgirls sharing their anonymous stories. You can find us on all social media platforms.
And if they want to write something, how do they reach it?
If they want to write something, you can go on our website, and there's a submit form. And I ask for your permission too. I want people to share stories of, and it doesn't always have to be like published. So there's a form on there. It says, what your name is, which in your email, which you don't have to put it in there. If you want to, you can. We want you on the email list, because I do send emails every week. But then also, it's like, share your cowgirl story. It doesn't have to be elaborate. If you send me a couple bullet points and you're like, Jordan, polish this up and post it, great. But at the end of it, I ask you, can I share this as an anonymous cowgirl story, or how can I be praying for you? I want to start that communication. So even if it's a story you submit and you're like, hey, I don't want this out there, but I just had to tell somebody, I just had to get this off my chest. Like, we will receive it. My team and I will be praying for you however we can. Or if you want us to share it, if you give us that permission, we share it too. So, it's been something I send a voice text to my friends, and I'm like, hey, if you've got a cowgirl story, share it with me. And I thought, nobody's going to do this. And I've been overwhelmed by the response. And
awesome.
So it's been a blessing to me, and it's just convicted my heart to do more and be more, and we're just mapping this out as we go, so it's gonna be fun.
All right. Well, I cannot wait to see how it takes off and how much money that $35 is gonna just,
You can't wait to make that tithe go up.
tenfold. It's just gonna keep going tenfold because the more you give, the more you get. All right.
Well, thank you.
Well, have a very Merry Christmas, and
Merry
we'll
Christmas.
talk soon. Yes, the Christmas cap. I want mine.
Christmas cap.
Don't forget to mail
Yeah.
me one.
I
All
will.
right.
It's in the mail.
All right. Have fun in Vegas.
Thank you.